building a PC. This is the 5000D Airflow. It's mainly for airflow, and that's what I want. I don't want some gamery RGB, LD, bargy. I don't care for that kind of thing. I mean, some of the stuff, like the GPU over here, does have like little RGB accents, but I didn't want that to be my whole thing. So we can get this turned over here, actually. Yeah, okay. So, oop, my mic is hanging. So it's a semi-large case. It's not huge. I mean, it's pretty big, but we've got the power switch, the 2 USB ports, and a USB-C port, as well as the reset switch and a headphone jack. We do have some nice emblems here that aren't too obvious that, yeah, we're a Corsair product. They don't scream that. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get rid of these captive thumb screws. We're going to take off this panel. There we go. Okay, that's glass. I shouldn't have done that. But now we can put it in a very safe place, which will be inside of, you can show the back here, inside of our box. It isn't the safest place, but at least we know it's not gonna tip over or anything, so we can keep that glass safe. But aside from the case, let's start back over here. So this is my little setup. The laptop will be used later. The first thing to start off with any PC build is a motherboard. And it's where everything goes. As I go, you're gonna follow it. We have got an Asus Z690P Wi-Fi D4, and it is pretty much the coolest budget motherboard there is. It's got Wi-Fi built in, which is great because surprisingly, a lot of budget motherboards these days don't have Wi-Fi. And it's got support for the latest 12th gen Intel processors. It's also got support for PCI Express 5.0, which is gonna be helpful for the GPUs in the future because NVIDIA doesn't currently do PCI Express 5.0. It's got support for PCI 4.0 SSDs, and that's what we have here today, a Samsung 2TB 980 Pro M.2 SSD. But what you can do to get a nice work surface is you can close the motherboard box, go onto the table and debag the motherboard. Now I have seen people get cut by these heat sinks in a Linus Tech Tips video, so just be careful. And here is where we're going to start assembling the heart of the computer. Sadly, I lost most of the footage for the tutorial, so think of this more as a showcase and how it ended up in the future. There are some little interspersed bits of the computer getting put together, but enjoy. And it just pops off. So what I did was I just pushed this manually while pushing this down. So I had to make sure that this little hook went over the teeth. And then our cover came out and is ready to be used if we ever sell the motherboard. Which means you have to align this edge first and then put it down on this edge. Now you're not gonna put this clip right back into place. You're gonna want to get the chip fully seated in the slot until you hear 2 clicks. You heard the one before and the second one. But that didn't sound super secure, so let's try again. Put that sticker down, there we go. Screw it in, just until it feels tight, which is, we tightened it still a little bit too much. A good trick is to go backwards with the screw until you hear the click, and then go forwards. There it is. Perfect. Just a little tight. There are more slots for expansion in the future, but this is all we're doing for now. And we can take off the protective cover on the GPU, take off any plastic wrap because it's going to be harder the second that it's installed. This is an RTX 3070 Ti for the Win 3 Ultra by EVGA, and it is absolutely massive. But massive is not a thing. Oopsies, gotta take this cover off, that I would consider bad because it's got the power. It's got the power. Nothing does. There we go. Perfect. That's about where all the usable footage ends. But I also got to installing the AIO after that, and there wasn't much to do after that. The only thing to do was to wire up the AIO, and that does take a little bit of trying. The connector looks like a USB connector, but it does not work like one, and it's very hard to get that cable managed. Also, if you are doing your front panel wiring, make sure that you use the correct port for your HD audio, because if you don't, then you could have some issues with AC97 not working together. Other than that, it was pretty much smooth sailing after, and here's the computer now. So I just finished building. This is just in the kitchen for now, but we've got the Z73 water cooler, the GPU. I don't think you can really see any of the colors that well, but the AIO along the front, fans spinning perfectly. I'll fix that later. We have one fan up top here, another fan in the back. Wi-Fi's working. I just had to install the driver. And yeah, that's the computer. I'll see you guys later. Bye.